channel. I do have a patrons club. It is a club that I love it.
Something that I've done recently are these. Is it in focus?
Yeah.
Right. So this is the donut. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. You go.
Okay. So this is the donut
projects, but that for me is like makes it exciting. That will lock in color and prevent from getting damage.
That's why I made a little house plants, and this is something I do.
Yeah. Well, it really is. So yeah. All right. Hello and good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Don't know where you guys are joining from, but say hello in the chat box. Great to start seeing everybody as you're joining this very special Meet the Miniaturist Open Studio event. Yeah, definitely say hello in the chat box. Where are you joining from? Love to see where you guys are joining from. Hi, Isabel. Good to see you. Great. Hi, Elizabeth and Carol, Arizona in the house. Tell me a few things. Tell me where you're joining from. If you've been on any of my live streams before, if you're a first timer, definitely say hello. And hi, Marit. Good to see you. Yeah, just tell me a little bit about whether or not you've been here before. Hey, Boca in the house. Good to see everybody. Hi, Susan. We'll just wait we're at 2 o'clock. You know how I like to start on time. Great to see everybody. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we actually get started into the Open Studio event, but we're still waiting for people to continue to join. Say hello in the chat box. Let me know if this is your first time on one of my live streams. Love to know that. Also, are you here to see a specific artist? And shout out to a specific artist friend you might be wanting to see. But let me know. But in the meantime, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Hey, first timer Heidi. Great to see you from Toronto. So this is my first Meet the Miniaturist non-sponsored event for the year. Great to see everybody. Happy. Welcome to the new year. Been tough for everybody. It's been a tough time. But I really want to encourage people to #find the joy in miniatures. It's sort of my hashtag for the year. It might be my hashtag forever that, you know, despite everything that's going on around us or what might be going on around us, you know, we at least have miniatures, you know, to discover, to be a part of our lives and, you know, to really help us find that joy. Because when things are tough, you know, you really just got to find that nugget of joy. Continue to say hello, please, in the chat box. And if you're joining for the first time on one of my live streams, thank you for joining. Thank you all for joining. So find the joy in miniatures. I did a recap of last year's year in miniature. So check that out on my blog. I did a blog post on that. It's been an amazing year for miniatures. Just so much happening. And that's actually been sort of the impetus for this event today, because there's just so many great things happening. Continue to say hello in the chat box, folks, while I do a little bit of housekeeping before we start the event. But if you are interested in supporting my channel, I do have a patrons club. It is a club that I offer, you know, unique exclusive events and activities and content. So we'll put the link in there. Say hello to Donald. If you haven't joined before, Donald is my amazing help behind the scenes. He's going to post the links in the chat box. But if you want to support my endeavors, my miniatures endeavors, please feel free to join a patrons club, get access to exclusive content. We're going to put a link in there. We just had a special Patrons Club event. We were treated to an amazing virtual tour of the collection of Martha McLean up in Canada. Canada is going to come up a lot today because we have a whole bunch of Canadian open studio artists in this event. So if you join my club, I'll give you a link to the replay from that really awesome tour of that amazing collection. So learn more. I'm going to post that into the chat box. Donald is. Thank you very much. I did just have. So if you don't know who I am, sorry. Let me take a step back. I am what I call an unapologetic miniaturist. You know, I love this thing. called miniatures. I don't really care who gets it and who doesn't. I just love it. The good thing today is there are more people who get it than don't. So we don't have to spend time trying to explain what we love. So, maybe I should just call myself a miniaturist and not unapologetic anymore. But I am an unapologetic miniaturist. What I do is I love to promote miniatures and the miniature art form. And I do that, through programming like this. But I also sell miniatures. In fact, I have a beautiful 2-story dollhouse. It's really a doll's house because it comes from England. It's a Francis England dollhouse. I'm working on selling that on behalf of a collector. And we're going to put the link in there. If you're interested, check it out. I have a whole bunch of images and also just a really nice description of this art piece. So I do sell miniatures, and that is my day job. And if you're looking to sell a collection, I'm happy to work with you. In fact, I'm having a webinar on February 5th. It's a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. If you're interested in selling your adored collection, I'll take you through what your options are, because there are more options than me selling it for you. So if you're interested, I'll take you through those options, a free webinar, join it. I'll put the link in there to register to join. It's a Saturday morning, spend a little time with me, and I'll take you through what your options are if you want to sell a collection, and I'll sell on your behalf. A couple of newsy things. Hi, Indiana. Great to see you. Hi, Crumbill, New York. I didn't even know, never heard of that. That must be far upstate. Good to see everybody. Thank you for joining. So a couple of I had a request from folks to sort of give us an update of what's happening in the miniatures world, give us some key dates. So I'm going to do that. A couple of things. The Tom Bishop show is happening. It's coming up in April 29th. If you're interested in that show, book your flights and book your hotel room early, because those things book up quickly. I know I've procrastinated in the past, not a good thing. This show, God willing, everything is going to be good with COVID. It should be a really, really great show. And then finally, there is a show happening. Shout out to the Denver Museum of Miniature Dolls and Toys, because they're hosting a little sale. They're calling it the Little Show. We're going to put the link in there to their website. That's happening February 12th. So if you're in the Denver area, it's always good to see miniatures, buy miniatures, support artists, support your own collections. So with that, I would like to open this wonderful open studio event and let you know a little bit about the thinking behind it. So this is an opportunity to introduce artists to a wider audience. You might not know who they are, but they're artisans working in the small scale. There's a broad range of artists and their skills and abilities being represented in this open studio event. It's going to move quickly. We're going to spend about 10 minutes with each artisan over a 2-hour period. So you can come and go as you want. Because it'll be a long one, but we're going to be focusing on 9 artists from here and abroad. Like I said, multiple range of disciplines to broaden it out, to give you, just a little bit of a variety of different artists and what they can do. And all in an effort to promote their work, promote the awesome work that they do. Maybe you'll become a subscriber, maybe you'll become a follower, maybe you'll become a buyer. Most of them do sell their work. But this is the general idea here, is really to have these artists be represented and to share their work. So with that, I would like to bring up our very first artist. That's Kate. Hi, Kate. Good to see you.
Derek.
That worked out. McDonald. Let me just say, Kate, I've been following you for a long time. I love your work. I love your work. I've had you on before.
Yes.
And I'm so excited that for folks who don't know you, or even for people who do, just to get a chance to maybe meet you and talk a little bit about what you're up to these days.
Sure.
And I want people to get an idea of what's the foundation for your work. And I can tell you, let me just tell you, which is what I see. And then maybe, I call this, you have a great way of sort of tapping into a slice of life miniature, like just capturing that moment in a tiny, tiny piece. And then it just makes you continue to think. So talk a little bit about that. Does that make sense? Is that what you hope to achieve in your work?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do definitely like I like things that feel like they could be in the real world, or that like someone like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids just like shrunk down something. And so to go off of that slice of life idea
I
is
love it.
Something that I've done recently. Are these, is it in focus? I'm trying to make sure.
Yes, we can totally see that.
So got some spilled Cheerios, also have, the box this way. I made all of the individual Cheerios with air dry polymer clay. What was that?
So so what is the main material that you use? Obviously it's paper in there, but
yeah, so it's the Cheerios themselves are air dry polymer clay. It's a Japanese brand that I'm sometimes able to get on Amazon. And what I did was I just put some clear UV resin on the bottom. And so I made sort of a clear platform of that I then individually glued the Cheerios to.
And you individually made each Cheerio?
I individually made each Cheerio. And so you can see some of the leftovers here. So I did individually make each Cheerio. And then I tried to do sugar as well.
Look at that.
And it kind of glistens if you see it in real life.
We can totally see it. Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love it.
And then I like to play in different mediums. I don't just work in clay. I don't just do furniture or purses. It's not that I get bored easily. It's just that there's so many things that I want to do.
Yeah. So where does the idea come, and how do you decide, all right, I'm doing this? Because you could have you have 10 things you want to do. What makes you say I'm doing this?
Just a new challenge. So one of the things that I've been doing is messing around with these tiny tiles. And so I just wanted to try, I stumbled across tiny tiles online and some little rabbit hole that I went down, and got the ideas to do these little trays and this little dry sink. Here's a piece in progress. It's going to be another bottom for a bench. It's going to be sun and then rays coming off of it.
One of the things that I was drawn to when I first discovered you was the refurb pieces that you do. So you take, do you kit bash or you piece? What do you call that when you take a piece? Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
I kind of think of it as upcycling. So both of these pieces were in like that dark, typical dollhouse finish. And so then, I love this wallpaper. It's museum quality wallpaper. It's from a great artist in Spain. And so that's where I get this beautiful wallpaper from. And I like to, mix it up with using wallpaper and then complementary paint colors.
Yeah, I love it. That was one of the first things that drew me to you. I love the idea of taking something old and bringing it and making it new.
Right. Giving it sort of like a modern twist.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So what else are you working on these days? What's on a bucket list for you?
Well, my bucket list right now is that I absolutely want to finish my witchy themed room box this year.
Oh, nice.
I've been working on little, doodads for it. And so here's a, little candelabra that I did, and the candles glow in the dark. And that's just the bakeable polymer clay. I want to finish my mosaic stuff, get into clay a little bit more. I've also been working on, little leather purses.
I love it. That's another really great thing that I think I'm struck by is you have a broad range of skills in terms of the categories. You're in fashion.
Yeah, or I just can't sit still.
It all works in your favor. We did get a question from someone wanted to know where you get the tiny tiles from. Where did those come from?
So the big ones come from these are, I consider these big ones. These come from Amazon. And then these teeny tiny ones come from a shop that I found online. And it's just something like, I think I just searched like nano tile mosaic or something. These are considered nano tiles. These really.
So those are really ceramic tiles. They're just, what are
They're
they used
yeah,
for?
they're made in Morocco. I had a hard time, I got this great idea during the pandemic that I was going to make, little mosaic things. And then the tiles weren't available because the factory in Morocco had shut down. And so I had to wait and, and get the tiny tiles. And so I want to finish some projects with the tiny tiles. And then I really want to, I've made so much stuff for the witchy room box, and I just haven't gotten a chance to have somewhere to put it in there. Yeah, this is
stunning.
This is one of my favorite pieces. This is going to be a big piece in the witchy room box. I painted and labeled and filled all of these tiny jars. I think there's something like 74, 77, somewhere around
how big
there.
is this box going to be?
It's pretty substantial.
Be big.
Yeah, you can see it there behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that piece there is huge. So
yeah, I
room has
wanted
gotta
something.
be big.
I wanted something that felt like really substantial, that I could
Very
really
substantial.
deck out and decorate. And this is another one where it was that plain brown, very traditional color, and then knocked off a.
Yeah, I love the blue. It's sort of coming out as blue, and it's got sort of the worn marks to it. So beautiful, just beautiful. All right, let's take one more question. I'm assuming that's 12 scale. Martha wants to know, are you working in 12 scale?
I am, yes. Yeah.
And then where is the wallpaper from? That's a good question too, because those papers were beautiful.
Shoot. There is someone who resells her stuff on Etsy. I want to say she's out of Arizona.
And she sells like really high-end wallpaper pieces?
Yeah, she's reselling the stuff that comes from Spain because the shipping is pretty insane. I mean, I did a really big order because the shipping is like $35 coming from Spain.
Yeah,
so,
I know. Yeah. So what's next? What's next for you? There was a time when you were going to plan to sell online. Are you selling your stuff? How's that working? Yeah,
I mean, I've mostly been selling sort of through direct message on Instagram. I do have a lot of stuff that I'd like to get rid of, that I would like to get into other people's homes because I don't have space for it. I don't have a dollhouse for this piece to go into. So yes, someone said, someone posted, Mark McLean posted the artist. Thank you. And a lot of times there are fabrics that match the wallpaper, which is great.
Beautiful. All right. So if we put your link to your Instagram account here, can folks DM you there? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. That's a great place to DM me.
All right. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and getting us to see some of your work and meeting you. This has been awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So folks, Kate, check out our Instagram account. Check out more of her work. Go to her Instagram because it's just filled with, oh my God, her Metro card, her the playbill, and my favorite piece is the scratch off miniature. Crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. So so let's bring up our next Open Studio artist. We're going to be chatting now with Sharonda Scott out of Cocoa Beach, Florida. Hi there, good to see you. And you're coming to us live from the new shop that you just opened 6 months ago, which was kind of all learnings for me. It's blowing my mind because there's so much happening right in there. But just thank you for joining us. So I'll tell you, so you're a mom, you're a veteran, you're a miniaturist, you're a shop owner. You just basically do it all.
Yes, I do.
But what I was totally drawn to actually is your miniatures, specifically that little gift set with the sausage in it.
Those are very popular. Sold out.
So
very
crazy. Tell us a little bit about you. Do you have an art background? How did you get into miniatures? And we would love to see some of your work.
Well, I don't necessarily have an art background. I'm more self-taught.
Yeah.
And I kind of got into miniatures on accident. I didn't even know that it was a whole genre or
Yeah.
anything. I just started to create them and then kind of realized that it was an actual thing. Like people are really into this. And then I kind of just fine-tuned it after that. And
Yeah. Well, I heard you say before, you've been doing this for 20 years. You've been making for quite a while.
Mhm.
So over that time, how has your work progressed? I mean,
oh,
I would imagine over 20 years, you've learned a lot.
oh yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've
And
learned
perfected
quite a
your
bit.
craft.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've learned to use a lot more translucent over time.
Ah.
I've learned a lot of the techniques, like mostly by trial and error.
Yeah.
I've learned about other mediums that work very well for texture and color.
Yeah.
And, and I'm also learning about UV resin. I'm very new to that, but
Yeah.
I love it. I love it a
So-
lot.
So what are your favorite things to make? Like, what do you just love to get in and make? Where do you gravitate to?
I would say that's a tie between my cakes and
Okay.
chocolate covered strawberries. I'm actually doing
Oh.
some cakes now.
Yes, let's
One
see.
in progress at the moment. I made some Reese's peanut butter cups, so I'm gonna put them on top of this cake, just cause. But right before that, I was working on some ribs, and I'm trying to mass produce because when you're having a store, you've got to make
Yeah.
more than one item. I've
Right.
actually got a few more of these because of Miniaturia coming up.
Right.
And did that and some skillet cornbread and potato salad and little plate
Ah.
of food and
And where do you get your inspiration? Like, what makes you say, okay, I love making foods. I'm gonna make this next. What? Where do you get inspired?
honestly, I kind of just go with the flow. I like to just keep it random.
Yeah.
I could be watching TV and see a commercial for a steakhouse and be like, I'm gonna make some steaks.
Yeah. I love the Hostess cupcakes that you made. They're
Thank
just
you.
awesome.
Thank you
They're
very
just
much.
fantastic. And then also, that and and you choose things, and there's also the Sharpie pens. I think I saw on your, they touch you a certain way.
Mhm.
And that's what I think ties the artist with the miniaturist and just
Correct.
brings that work to life, is when you feel something. And that's what I love about your work, because it really just makes you feel something. It makes you go, or makes you go, oh, or makes you go, it just touches your heart. So, and that's why I was like, I love your work. I love your Instagram account. It's just filled with great stuff, just great stuff.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
So you have this new shop. I weren't going to get into it. We have to now. So you just opened this shop 6 months ago. So you're a
Yeah.
new business owner and you're a miniaturist maker.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's so much going on there. So much.
It is. It's so much excitement though. A lot of big things coming up. The
Yeah.
hardest part so far is not really even so much of running the shop. It's people watching because I sit right in front of this huge window as I
Yeah.
create. And so I can
Yeah.
actually hear people outside. Oh my God, she's making something. It kind of gets a little bit distracting, but it's cool at the same time.
Yeah.
I never really figured people would want to watch me do it, but I'm open to it,
Oh my
They come
gosh, of
inside and
course.
watch and yeah.
I think making miniatures can totally be performance art right there, because
I'm
people
definitely
are
learning that,
wowed.
yeah.
They're wowed
Yeah.
by the process.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if they come in and, I've always pushed to have people see miniatures any way they can, because it gets them involved and gets them interested and gets them to see it in a different way. We were chatting a little bit earlier about how, people see these as toys and playthings. No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's more than
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear people are drawn to watching you create your miniatures. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good time.
So let's take a question, shall we? Oh my God, my friend Sandy is on. Hi, Sandy. She said that she's gonna visit your shop. That's awesome. I'm totally coming. I'm gonna be down in Florida next Friday. So I hope I can make it up there. We'll see. Actually, Amanda had a great question. The process of owning a dollhouse shop. You want to fill us in on that story? I know it's a great story.
Okay, so I came to this shop actually over 20 years ago. When I first started to make miniatures, I wasn't even sure if I was doing it right or if I was in scale or even what was I doing. So I found the store that I own now. And I came up to the original owner and asked her to basically critique my work. And she was like, who are you? Where have you been? I don't need, and she ended up actually purchasing some stuff from me, which kind of gave me a confidence boost. And so I was like, well, I can sell these online for myself too. So I did do that for quite a few years. And Mother's Day, I came back to the shop and I brought my mother and found out that they were selling it. So I was like, good time to go ahead and try that. I thought I was crazy for buying a shop during the middle of a pandemic. It was a kind of easy choice, but because I had to worry about overhead and all of that. But so far it has been wonderful. It has been wonderful. I enjoy what I do so much. It's not like working. I don't even like to call it work. I just say I'm going to the shop. It's fun. Every day I get to come and create. I build doll houses. I make the foods.
That's awesome. And it's called the Toy Box, and it's in Cocoa. It's in Cocoa Beach. Is that the name?
Village.
Cocoa Village.
Florida. Mm-hmm.
Cocoa Village, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So people can come and visit you. They can also check into your Instagram account, which you have an awesome Instagram account with more of your work they can see. I just love that story. And I think we need more places for people to actually go to see miniatures, because as much as the online world is great, we need to see, touch, and feel these things. Not to mention, there is a whole social aspect that's so important. Having like-minded people, just to chat with is so important. So thank you for buying that shop. And people, definitely, you must go visit and see the Toy Box and check out your Instagram account. And thank you for joining us today and sharing some of your work with us and some of your stories. This has been awesome. Awesome. So thank you so much. Okay, so we have now part of our wonderful open studio event. Cielo. Am I saying this? Bianzon?
It's Vianzon, yeah.
Bianzon. Hi, Cielo. How are you?
How can I change my background? I cannot.
Background. I mean, it's fine. It's a nice fall setting in Florida.
Anyway, I got it.
You did it. You did it.
Hello,
How
everyone.
are you?
Yeah, I'm good. A little bit cold. It's so cold.
So
it's so cold.
You are in Canada. Are you in Toronto? Where are you in Canada?
Yes, exactly, in Toronto. Yeah.
You're in Toronto. And I found you online like I do everything else. And you're actually also a multidisciplined miniaturist, but you focus mostly on pottery. Your pottery work is gorgeous, and you're gonna have to take us through what's behind you. Tell us a little, and you're also going to tell us other surprises, which we're going to first hear now.
Yes.
Exclusive. But let's talk about your miniatures, and then let's talk about your mini passion project. There's a lot to talk about. So talk a little bit about your background as a miniaturist. Did you study art? How did you get involved in this?
I'm basically self-taught. Since I was a kid, I was already fascinated with miniatures, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It blew my mind that time. And I just started full blown in miniature making like 2019, January of 2019.
Just a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Was that
Almost
the first time
yeah,
you
3
threw
years
pottery
ago.
on a wheel? Just 2 years ago, you first?
The pottery is 2 years ago. And then I did some room boxes like three years ago.
Yeah. Wow. So what made you sort of super focus on pottery, let's say? I mean, what got you
Oh,
started? Yeah.
it became an obsession actually. Because
Really?
it all started when I created a console table. And then I
Uh-huh.
cannot find anything that I would put on it. Like I cannot. I was a miniature collector for like a decade already, but I cannot
Oh,
find some stuff that I could put on my console table that I created. And so
yeah.
I found this at Amazon a mini pottery wheel. So I had it, and then I was really terrible at the beginning, and then I was watching YouTube videos for tutorial, but they're life size. So
Yeah.
basically, I thought a life size pottery, it's basically the same as how it would be in miniature. So I just applied what I'm learning in
Yeah.
from
Well, let me
YouTube,
ask
and
you,
then
let me ask you, did that actually come to fruition? Did you discover that it was the same, or were there serious nuances in
oh,
making miniature
I don't
pottery?
know.
Did you find did some things apply and then most things did
Yes.
not? Because I always get the impression that they're not the
No, everything is life size, same as miniature. Yeah,
same.
it's the same. Centering the clay first, and then um um putting a hole in it so that it would open, and then the
Yeah.
shaping. It's basically the same, like what I did in a donut pottery, like this one. You'll see it
Yeah.
later. Um,
Okay.
I've seen that on YouTube on how they do it, and then I just applied it, but in a small scale, and it worked.
Wow. All right. So are we going to get a little bit of a close-up view?
All right, right, okay. So this,
Oh my.
I created this room box because sometimes the process videos that I'm doing on my Instagram, I want it to be like background. So this is my pottery
Ah.
wheel. This is my second one. I have another
Uh-huh.
one from Amazon, but I'm not using it already.
Uh-huh.
Because this one has different plates on it. Once I'm done with it, I could just change it. It's
Uh-huh.
from Mini Maker from Instagram, but they're not currently making it anymore. I don't know why, because I want to buy another one, but they're not making it anymore. So this
Can
is
you
the
talk a little?
donut. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry. You go,
Yeah.
you go, you go. Sorry.
All right. So this is the donut pot that I was talking about.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just learned it on YouTube and then applied it into small scale. So these are currently work in progress. This I just glazed it last night, but I haven't fired them. These are porcelain, and then the other ones are just stoneware. I'm also doing some little ramekins.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
so
So
um
can you talk about the firing process? Do you literally
uh,
have an oven somewhere? Like,
I used to rent a studio, a pottery studio,
oh,
but due to the pandemic, I cannot go because they're closed. And so my very supporting husband bought me a small kiln here at home, and then now I can fire my own pieces
oh,
anytime I
wow.
want.
So you
Yeah.
did it at home.
Mhm.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
just a
Very nice.
small one. It's like this room box. It's the same,
Yeah.
but it could fit like dozens of miniatures.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about your personal aesthetic and point out some of the pieces? Because you go run the
Mhm.
range from like pastels to
Yes.
metallics. You really have
Yeah.
a broad range of styles.
Honestly, I'm still discovering my
Hmm.
my style. I'm
Uh-huh.
still exploring.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm obsessed on mixing glazes like
Mhm.
this. These are a mixture of three glazes. So I'm obsessed with it right now.
Yeah.
If you can see, I don't have any pastel because last year I did a lot of pastels, but I'm going opposite that way already. So I'm
Yeah.
mixing
You get
glazes.
bored. You get bored personally, and you're like, okay, I want to do something else.
No, I still like pastels, but I'm trying different things
Yeah.
right now. I'm experimenting on different glazes, how they react with each other, because
Wow.
I've seen online. I've joined some Facebook groups that they're mixing glazes, and they're so beautiful, and they're so
Yeah.
amazing how they react with each other. So I'm currently experimenting on that.
Yeah.
But the style, I don't have a style yet.
Mhm. Did I hear you say you do tutorials on YouTube?
Oh no, I'm doing some
Or-
process videos sometimes in my Instagram. You can see my reel. Yeah, I'm just showing how. But I wish I could make some tutorials on YouTube, but it kind of eats a lot of time to make a video. So, but hopefully someday, one day.
No, but sharing the
Yeah.
process, I think, is really nice because people love to see how it's done. But yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
you do process videos on Instagram. That's awesome.
Just
Wow.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
And do you sell your work?
Yes, I have an Etsy shop, but I just make some small batches and then just occasional shop drop. I don't want to stock on Etsy because sometimes I cannot ship. I don't have time to ship to people. So this February I'm planning to make another shop drop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has been long overdue, but since
So we need to make sure that people follow you. That's how they can find out when you'll have these drops and when they can actually purchase from you. All right. So tell us what's going on with this project that you're working on and that we're going to hear first here now.
Okay. It's the first time. There will be a new miniature show coming. It will be in Canada first and in UK. Then soon, I think Marble Media, the production company, will announce it when it will be available in the US. But this would be on February 11. It's called Best in Miniature, and I'm part of it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I'm part of it. You should watch it. On February 11, they will be releasing it on CBC Gem and Discovery Plus UK. All 10 episodes will be released all at the same time, so you could binge watch. And
So
you have to
are
watch.
a contestant. You're a contestant on Best in Miniature, this new show that's happening out of Toronto, out of Canada. Congratulations! That is the biggest thing ever. We cannot wait. But I don't know if we're going to be able to see it in the States. I don't know.
I think as far as I know, they would be announcing soon when it will be available in the States, but they have no exact date yet.
Wow.
So,
all right. So you can't tell us how it, but we'll be watching.
You have to watch so you can see how far I make it.
Sure. Oh my God, that's great news. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being part of this open studio event. It's been great to see your work and to see your
Thank
beautiful
you.
craft.
It's my pleasure. Thanks.
Yes. All right. You take care. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. You heard this here, guys. All right. All right. So we have next up we're doing really good on time. Thank you, Donald, for keeping me in check here. Christine Hanna from Paper Doll Miniatures. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm from Ottawa.
Great to see you.
To Cleo.
Yeah, we're all, is that right? That's right. You're another, where are you out of? You're out of Canada also.
I'm from Ottawa, so I'm just a few hours away. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I did not plan it this way, but we've got like 3 of you guys are from Canada, but that is great. How are you? It's great to see you. Thank you for joining. And you're coming to us right from your studio space, which is awesome. Can't wait to see more of that. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about you. Tell us about Paper Doll Miniatures. Tell us how you got into miniatures. And then talk a little bit about what you make specifically.
Sure. Okay. So I've been doing miniatures for about 13 years, and I started off in university, and I had to photograph people in places, and I lived kind of an hour outside of downtown. So I started building these room boxes and taking a photo of myself, cutting it out and putting it in the room box and taking a photograph of that. And that's kind of how Paper Doll was born. And after I graduated, I moved more into the hobby side of miniatures. And from that, I've started laser cutting. I do a lot of room boxes, and I do a 3D printing. And I would say I'm mostly a dollhouse content creator. I really enjoy making scenes, but a lot of them are temporary. A lot of them are like for the photograph, not necessarily just for Instagram, but for my blog as well. So one of my goals actually is to finish. I only have one dollhouse finished. I'd love to have a few more, but what you're gonna see here in my studio is that I have a lot of room boxes and temporary scenes.
Wow, I can't wait to see. One of the dollhouses you're talking about is the bungalow, right? That we see a lot of.
Yeah, so I did a
Yes.
kickback on the bungalow, but the inside isn't done yet.
Okay.
And I also have the Belmont dollhouse, which is back there. That's the only one that's finished inside and out, and it needs a little bit of repair, but that's the only one. And then I have a few others in the works. But for me, I do a lot of room boxes. So there's a kitchen one. I'll bring you over here.
And talk a little bit about some of the materials you use too.
So for this one here, I made the appliances. I'm just gonna bring over my table. So I made the appliances. I use a lot of MDF and basswood, and this has like a metal veneer on it. The cabinets here are from HBS Miniatures, the Houseworks kits that I put together, but I also make a lot of my own. So this here is a island I made. These are some, these are some of my 3D designs that I make for faucets, and I have a lot of fixtures, lights and things. Yeah. So I do make my own kitchens, but I'll show you quickly my studio because this is.
Yes. And I just want to say, I love the high gloss on that kitchen island. Like it's so super shiny. Love it.
So that's acrylic. It looks really good. It's black acrylic. And then this here, back here, sorry everybody for the shakiness. This is sticker paper. And I just put it around MDF because I'm still looking for some good marble options. So for the studio, I actually have two areas. I have one upstairs where I do a lot of my photographs in my dining room because I have really good lighting there. But this is where I work. So I have my laser cutter back there. I have a glow forge. And then I have the venting system, which is super important. And then on the other side,
I didn't know that. You needed to have a venting system for Glowforge? I guess so.
Yeah, well, especially since I'm in a basement, you do need to vent out 100%. But I had to do something really big because my window's up really high. So over there, I have my 3D printer in that cabinet. And then I have some storage over here. But what I was kind of hoping to show everybody, because what I get asked a lot is how I take photos of my miniature sets.
Yeah.
So I do my backgrounds. I print them on, look this up. I print them on engineering paper. And this is an example here. It's cheaper than poster paper. I have it on a clothing rack, so it's really easy to move. And this is 36 by 48. You can see I have two here. So really cheap to print this way compared to like a poster paper, and it works. It's great quality for what you're using it for. And for my, there we go. For my setups, this is an example here. I'm just going to turn on the light. I got these new lights, super bright, because
love it.
If you photograph miniatures indoors, it can be really tough. So I think these are 60 watt, but Amazon has some great options. What I used to do before I got these lights was I have this diffuser, and if you have like a really bright lamp, or I was using like one of the lights I have on my ceiling behind it. Yeah, this is really great for miniatures because it kind of softens the the light. And my scene here.
Oh, wait, can I ask you? So you're a content producer. So everything you do is geared towards getting that great shot or getting that great. Talk a little bit about what is it that you are trying to zoom in on as a miniaturist content creator?
I guess, and you know what? I only really realized the last few months because I realized I don't have a lot of finished projects, but that for me is like the exciting part is making it and then sharing it with my audience. So
And it might not necessarily be quote unquote finished, as a collector might find something
Right.
to buy. You're looking for that great shot in miniature, and it's a stage set essentially, right?
yeah, and I do
I
like
love it.
the you know, creating that look where it looks real. Something that I've really been changing is adding scale to my photos. I never used to do that, and since social media come around,
There's a
I'm always
great
like,
photograph. There's a great photograph of you holding that chair,
yeah,
right? In the scene. It's a great shot. It's a great setup. So yeah. Wow, that is just amazing. So we're definitely going to put your Instagram, account in the thing, so that's where we can find you. Do you sell your work? Do you have an Etsy shop?
I have so I sell all of my 3D printed items right now on Shapeways.
Wow.
And
Okay.
there's a link on my blog. My blog's paperdollminiatures.com. I have tutorials. I have all the behind the scenes of my projects. But I am on Instagram as well, and I'm always happy to help in DMs and everything like that.
Awesome. So people can reach out to you that way. That is great. My gosh, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for participating in this. This has really been a great view into other ways people use miniatures. So can't wait to see more of what you do moving forward. People, definitely check out our Instagram account. You got some great stuff on there and a great view towards this whole other angle about creating content within miniatures, that not just necessarily making one thing and putting it out there. It's setting the stage. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
All right, you have a great rest of your day. All right, so our next up is going to be May from Cobble Hill Miniatures. She's in my backyard here in New York. Hi, May. Good to see you.
Hi.
Great to see you. Thank you for joining today. We can hear you. Talk a little bit about, I know you started out in Cobble Hill, but you're in New York City, which is great. And what struck me most about your work is just this really bright, modern approach to miniatures. If anybody had a specific view towards what they thought miniatures were, that is just blown away when they see some of your work. It's just a beautiful, bright, modern finish, look and into this tiny world that we love so much. So tell us a little bit about that. How did you get involved in miniatures? Talk about your personal aesthetic and what do you love to make?
Yeah. So I actually had a dollhouse when I was about 7 that my mom got me, and we had so much fun decorating it over the course of a few years. And then during quarantine, which I think is when a lot of people picked up miniatures, is when I kind of started back. And so I bought this Real Good Toys dollhouse kit within, 4 or 5 months. It's now been a year and a half. So, I think you have to kind of temper your perfectionist tendencies if you ever want to finish a larger project. But yeah, I got started, and I just love it. I love the community. Everyone is so supportive and creative. And as far as where I get my inspiration and aesthetic, I like modern traditional. I've heard it referred to as grand millennial. So I like a lot of chinoiseries, and a lot of kind of bright, exciting wallpaper. I get a lot of my inspiration from interior design magazines. So Architectural Digest, Veranda, and then a lot of interior decorators on Instagram as well, and fellow, miniaturists too.
Yeah. What are some of the pitfalls in working in scaling down full size to miniature? Because it doesn't always translate. So what are the things that you look for that make you say, okay, this is fine, this looks good? I mean, it could be personal taste, but or sometimes it looks overscaled. Like, talk a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what we're talking about. Wallpaper, for example, if you have like a really small print, you know, if you're trying to scale it down to 1/12, it's going to be pretty hard to see that detail. So I think larger kind of patterns really translate better. And then something else, I dabbled in 3D printing for a while. Which was really interesting because there are some details, you know, that when you try and scale them down to 3D printing, it's impossible because the resin it can't make those fine kind of details. So yeah, I think scaling objects when 3D printing can also be difficult. Also, something else that I read and I found to be true is when you're working with high gloss items, sometimes the reflection of high gloss, depending on what the piece is, it kind of ruins the scale because you might have this like huge reflection on a tiny, you know, piece.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. And it works the same way with paint colors that you choose. They might not always work when you put them in the room because light work the same. It might be natural light, you know, incandescent. We did have a question about, do you do prints on engineering paper? This is a new word for me, engineering paper. Christine mentioned that too. Talk a little bit about the papers that you use.
Yeah, so the paper I use for my wallpapers is it's matte, really high quality, museum quality from a company in Texas called Red River Paper. And I also use, whenever I print something, I use a matte sealant spray, so that will lock in the color and prevent from kind of UV damage over, you know, the course of years.
Right. So quite a process. So where can people find you? You sell your work on Etsy, is that right?
Yeah. So
okay.
I Cobble Hill Miniatures is where I sell my wallpaper. Some of it is licensed from bigger companies. Some of it is like public domain, William Morris type stuff. And then some of it is original designs as well.
Awesome. Awesome. That is great. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your beautiful work. So we do have the link to your Etsy site. And we're going to put it in there, but can people reach out to you, follow you on Instagram, DMs? You're getting.
Of course.
Awesome. Awesome. Adam's on. He's buying some right now, he says. Hi, Adam. How are you? All right, May, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I was getting my 2-minute warning from Donald. Next up on our wonderful open studio is Hannah Lemon. I believe you're calling from the UK. How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you.
Where are you located?
So I'm in London. So
you are in London.
Yeah, sorry about the lighting. It's actually really dark in here. I hope you can see my work.
No, it looks good. It looks good. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. You were a recent discovery for me, but like I was just floored by some of your work. You work mostly with plants, greenery, not necessarily flowers, but we're going to get to it. How did this all start for you? How long have you been making miniatures? Why plants? Let's hear that from you.
So I am actually quite new in this genre. I've started it in the first lockdown in the UK. So so that was 2020 winter that I started doing miniatures. So yeah, I'm very new.
You have an art background? Have you,
Yeah, so I'm actually a photographer, but I always loved making small things. Like when I was little, I'm from Japan originally, and when I was in Japan, I used to make small things out of all the clay, and I loved it. And I basically started doing it again when in lockdown because all my work stopped. So yeah, that's how I started it.
Wow, and that doesn't get better than being in Japan because they do some serious fine miniatures. So okay, so let's talk about these. What kind of materials do you use? Can you bring some of them up? I want people to see some of these plants because they're really crazy.
Yeah, sure. So I'm making my dream home. That's my personal project. And the dream home that I'd love to have in the future has lots of house plants. So that's why I make a lot of house plants. And this is something I finished this morning. And these plants are made of polymer clay, and I use the Japanese polymer clay, which is an air dry one. So
Yeah.
I
And
just
then finish them with paint. Do you paint them to finish?
yes. So I hand paint them individually. So they're tiny and it takes ages to make one plant.
You guys, you have to check out her Instagram because you know what? Now it's all coming into place because you are a photographer too. Because the way you shoot your minis are awesome. The shots are beautiful.
Thank you.
So not only you have beautiful miniatures, you're taking beautiful photographs of them. They're really just breathtaking. So how come? Why polymer? Have you tried other materials? Why do you prefer polymer? What do you think is the benefit of that? Because most people do use paper, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. I was so I'm self-taught. I actually didn't really study at all of this you know, how to make miniatures, and it just happened to be I just had polymer clay at home, and it was just perfect match. It was like, you know, there was a chemistry between us. So air dry polymer clay, they're quite stretchy, and when you're making a thin petal or like plant leaves, it was just perfect. And I actually haven't tried using other clay, just because I just felt like I didn't need to. So I want to be more adventurous, but at the moment I'm very happy with the polymer clay.
So the house project, is that full scale or the miniature? I'm confused. I get confused.
It is a miniature.
So it's the miniature. So how far along are you? Because it looks like it's pretty packed.
Yes, it is. I'll just show you a little bit.
Yes,
how far I
please.
got with this.
I
don't know
see
if
some
you can
real
see.
plants around you. You must love real plants
Yes.
too.
So I have a lot of
that's-
houseplants in the real house as well, but this is basically what I would love to live in the future. This sort of open space house with lots of houseplants. So it's quite jungly already, but it's still not finished yet. I'm thinking of having another floor on the top of this, and yeah, it's just still got quite a lot to work on it, but I'm kind of enjoying the slow process of this.
It's really stunning. It just is stunning. And so do you sell your work? I wasn't sure.
Yes, so I'm actually starting to take commission work. And,
Beautiful.
yeah, sorry.
No worries. All good.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Cool. I'm in the middle of setting up the Etsy shop, and I'm creating a website for it. So because I started it as a hobby, I didn't think I would get into this much, but now I feel that this is something that I would like to focus on, and there are a lot of comments on Instagram that people like my houseplants and want to purchase it. So I would like to have a platform where people can buy them. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
I would imagine you probably got a quick, swift reaction of people who are loving your work, wanting your work, wanting to see your work, wanting to buy your work. I get that, because that's exactly what happened with me. I was like, whoa. So would we possibly see you maybe showing at a show in the future?
Well, I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, since I started it, unfortunately, it's been lockdown and another lockdown. So I haven't been able to basically show it to people face to face. Everything has been just on Instagram and online. And, you know, that's fine, because I got to connect with so many amazing people, including you, and amazing artists. But yeah, like something like, you know, a show or exhibition, I mean, that would be amazing. It would be my dream come true.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because when you do this kind of work, it's just so important that you share it, because people need to see it. They need to see it. I need to see this in person. I mean, the photographs are great, but I want to see it now. Like, I want to meet you. I want to see your work. I need to see it. And I love green houseplants. I'm like, that's one of my things. Like, I'd rather have a green plant than a flower pot. That's my personal preference.
Yeah,
so when I saw your work, love it. I love it. Plus, they're so much easier to take care of in real life. So it's good.
I mean, the thing is though, like I have so many houseplants, but I managed to kill some of them. But then I make it in the miniatures, and I don't have to water them. So
I love it. I have so many more questions, but this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us. Thank you for sharing your time and your treasures. And I would please encourage folks to go and check out some of your work and see beautiful photographs. And now we know you take commissions, so you're going to be busy. I think you're going to be busy. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I see Danny is in the waiting room. Hi, Danny. How are you? Listen,
Hey,
how are you?
how's it going?
I think let's talk to Danny, and then I was just going to say, uh-oh. Yeah, I think you have to turn your sound down. You're getting a little bit of you're getting a little bit of reverberation. Oh, we'll get getting Dan. Oh, much better. I just heard one of you.
How about now?
Perfect.
Can you?
How are you?
Now, now we got it. I got you now.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for being here. So, so Danny, I found your work online, struck like right here, just on the amazing work
Not on
you
the
do.
main chat.
I think one of
It's on your chat.
you know, I want to hear from you what exactly, like, what you call your work. I call it like graffiti art. I call it structure.
Yeah, street art.
Street art. I mean, I think what is so great about your work is you capture these moments in time, and you
Absolutely.
really you bring in the environments around you. You're a Brooklyn guy. I'm a Brooklyn guy, actually. So,
All right.
you know, one of your iconic pieces is the Softy truck in miniature.
Oh, yes.
Your bodegas are awesome. Tell us a little bit. How did you get started in this world?
You did really well.
It's going in and out. Can't really hear. Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Leave them. We'll put it on here.
I'm hearing like a bunch of voices.
Is it? All right. You tell me what you need to do.
There we go.
All right.
So yeah, I started also started during the pandemic, you know, lockdown, bored at home. 2020, March, and I always look for nostalgia. That was always my goal and everything. I was always Googling stuff for the 80s, 90s, you know, just to get that inner child, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always worked with the elements around me. Graffiti, a fan of graffiti, a fan of Brooklyn streets.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
So did you grow up creating art? Like, what is your background?
I was always in graffiti and art. I was always in that environment. But I
like
did
drawing, illustration. What was the first thing you created? Like, were you doodling as a child? Like what?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I was like the when I watched the Saturday morning cartoons and you see these action figure commercials, I was always like the backgrounds. But they never sold any of that. So I always had to recreate it with cereal boxes at home. So that's, you could say, that was the first start of me dibbing and dabbing with the miniatures.
So inspired by what was happening behind the scenes in the cartoon, not necessarily the characters, but the streets behind them, right?
Yeah, the bricks, the rust,
interesting,
light poles, fire escapes.
Yeah,
that New York City gritty style.
And so why did you choose miniatures? Why tiny? Like, what drew you to recreating those things into miniatures? Where did that
go back also to Mr. Rogers when we used to watch
I totally hear you on that. That is my inspiration too.
I always wanted to escape to that world.
Absolutely.
Mr. Rogers was actually.
Oh my God. You know, there were times when he would go into the kitchen and pull down the models off of his kitchen shelf.
Yes.
That was what I was drawn to, the models of the miniatures. So, I never heard anybody else with that same inspiration. That is so cool. Yeah. So, yeah. And So can we see some of your miniatures?
Absolutely.
You have them nearby that you can show them? Awesome. 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 Oh, yes. Yes. Beautiful. Just beautiful. So you do work in different scales because that's a little bit over scale.
Different scales, 112, 118.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorite pieces. Just awesome.
Haring.
Tell a story about, people might not know who Keith Haring is.
Keith Haring was a street artist. He was a street artist from New York City. I think he was from, not exactly where he's from, I think Cleveland or something, or Detroit. And moved to the city. And he used to make these iconic style, that type of style in subways.
Right. And that is a replica of
the
FDR
court, drive, a handball court in New York City. Spanish Harlem.
Still there.
Yeah,
right?
Still there.
It's still up. Yeah, yeah. So, all right, we just lost your video for a second. That's all right. We'll get you back.
Hold on 1 second.
Hold on.
Hello?
We're not going anywhere.
Video.
We can hear you. We just need to see you. Awesome. There you are. Cool.
Yeah. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Oh my God. That is just beautiful. What is that?
This is inspired by a door that's like a block away from where I live at.
Seriously. Oh my goodness. That is
We
just
got the
stunning.
discarded cigarettes, gum stains.
Yes. Oh my God. That's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, you really draw in from some like iconic neighborhoods in New York City. You have Bed-Stuy.
Landmarks, because it's a disappearing New York City where you know about it because you grew up in Brooklyn. And
yeah,
it's getting gentrified for the better. But I try to bring that nostalgia and this is an old New York City, and I try to capture those moments, the 80s and 90s era.
Yeah, well,
like
you
the
really
bodegas.
are. Bodega. Oh my goodness, that is just stunning. Just
This
stunning.
piece is going to be for Sotheby's, March 24th. It's going to get auctioned out in Sotheby's.
Oh, seriously? So, what kind of sale is this? Tell us about this.
It's hip hop, second annual hip hop Sotheby's auction, where they sell a lot of old school hip hop relics. And they
Awesome.
contacted me. They said my art fits right into the category, to the genre. And yeah, they're gonna auction.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Oh my God, we heard that here. Right, first here. We're hearing a lot of first here. Ah, look at that. Man, that's beautiful. That's just beautiful.
But this, a bunch of the pieces are not finished, but just so you get an idea.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what about works in progresses.
Yeah, I have this one. This is work in progress.
So talk a little bit about the materials you use. It looks like a mix of different things.
Yeah, I use oak tag to balsa wood, XPS foam. Can I fit the camera here so I can show you?
Yeah, sure.
This is the foam cutter.
Oh, that's just crazy. Oh my God. Wow. Just wow.
Everybody knows about the New York City handball courts.
You got the whole handball court there. That's awesome. I don't know if people have handball courts outside of New York. Oh my gosh.
The West Coast.
Yeah. Just amazing. So do you use airbrush? Well, how do you do your painting? It's airbrush.
Airbrush, acrylics, brushes. Yeah, we have regular paint.
One comment saying, before New York City turned into Disneyland. Yeah, that is true. This is
so true.
Wow, that is just amazing. All right, so what's next for you? You have a major show. I mean, this is big, having your work be seen. Is there any other showings that we can see?
Yes, I have a solo show February 18, 19, 20. It's going to be in the Lower East Side, 209 East 3rd Street at the Collective NYC. I'll be there.
Perfect. I'm definitely getting down there. Oh, wow. That is just great. All right. And so you have a very active Instagram account. People can find you there. Do you take commissions?
Absolutely.
You'll take commissions and, people can reach out to you there, but you also have, you have a great TikTok account too, right? You have a really nice.
It's getting there.
You do. There's a lot of great stuff on there. So I encourage people to check your work out on Instagram, check out your TikTok because it's very entertaining. Great stuff coming up for you. Congratulations on the Sotheby and your one-man show. Can't wait to hear more about that. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your incredible work.
Thank you for giving me the platform to showcase my art, Darren.
Really great. Thank you so much. And keep doing what you're doing because it's just awesome. Thanks so much, Danny. All right. Take care.
Got it.
All right. We were going to try to do a little bit of a break, but I think we should just plow through. All right. We now have, hold on. Let me get my, Danny, that was awesome. Mary, let's bring her on. Mary, how are you?
Am I on? Sorry, I've been day drinking because my kids and my family are like away. So I'm like, oh, I have all this work to do and I'm super nervous. And I'm like, oh, well, let me have some wine.
Mary, it's all good. Thank you for joining, bringing your drinks and everything. Let me just say,
Thank
I
you.
love your Instagram account. I love the work that you do. There is definitely an edge to you, which I love because it really bridges the gap between toy and art. Because what you do is you make people think, and I love that. And whether and sometimes it can be polarizing, but that is art, and I think it's meant to move people. So thank you for joining us today. If you can eke out a few words, how did you get started in making miniatures?
Well, thank you for having me. And like, I've been following all of the other artists, and I'm like so honored to be in this whole field with so many talented people. How did I get started in miniatures? I have no idea. Like most of your other artists, it started during lockdown. In our household, we have 2 young girls, a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old. And things were uncertain. And, you know, it was like, okay, we're on airport rules here. And it's like, breakfast is dinner, drinks are at 9, and like everything was chaos for a while. And it's like, all right, well, let's buckle down and start doing some crafts or something. So it started with me getting garden gnomes, like about this size garden gnomes, and kind of personalizing them for family and friends. And I had no idea what miniatures were until it was like, okay, so let me make a gnome for my husband who likes X, Y, and Z. Let me make a gnome for my daughter who's a ballerina and enjoys these movies and books. And so I found this world. It was like, oh my God, whatever you want exists in form. And then coming back to me and my personality, it was like, oh, well, wouldn't it be funny if this was in mini form or that was in mini form? And it's like, oh, well, let me make it in mini form.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about that, because your miniatures do strike themes that tend to be controversial, from the political to the sexual to the recreational drugs and things like that, which are all fun.
Yeah.
Why?
And can I just,
why those? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to come out and like tell everybody out there that doesn't know me, I am the most boring person. I don't do like any sort of recreational drugs. I'm asleep by 10:30 every night. I bake cookies. I bring my daughters to dance class. I'm such a boring person. And but I've always had this personality. Like in high school, I was voted class clown. And I've always just been like the black sheep of the family. But I have this sense of humor, and I just found this little corner of the internet that people really appreciate and like. And I'm just bored that I share my sense of humor with so many other people.
So some of the content of the miniatures, whether they be a bong, a glass bong, or a tray of recreational drugs. So it sounds like to me, it's actually born out of comedy and pushing those sorts of buttons, as opposed to angering people. It's really just about it's mockery is what we're saying.
It's a reflection of real life. I mean, it's so crazy, like for people to get angry over something so small. It's like, look around you, what is going on in the world right now? And and it's like, why are people getting so mad? And it's crazy. It's like, let people live, or I don't know, like a friend of mine said, die mad. I don't know.
Yeah. So I see your lovely studio space behind you. Is there also work there we can see? I don't know. Are you planning to share some of your work?
my lovely studio space is about as narrow as a prison cell, because like I said, I have a 3-year-old who I have to share a space with her. Like her playroom is over there, and it gives me time to actually do some work while still keeping an eye on her. And,
Yeah.
you know, she's a little thief. She'll always come over and see what's on my whatever and like run away and take it. And I'm like, no. That's not something that little kids can play with. But yes, I do have some things laid out for you. And I'm going to, my daughter, my eldest calls me like such a boomer because I don't know what I'm doing, and that's fine. So I'm going to take this camera off, and I am going to bring you guys to see some of the work.
Beautiful.
And I think now is a good time to state also that I'm completely self-taught. I'm still learning every single day what to do. And I got a glow forge, I do resin, I do polymer clay, whatever strikes me, and I'll just work on it until it's good enough for me to put on my Etsy, which is a hard.
So you do have an Etsy site, so people can, let's see some of the work before we share your Etsy site.
Okay. Yeah, I am going to.
Do you work in different materials, and do you have a favorite material to work with?
No, I can't say that I do have a favorite. It's all challenging to me. Maybe one of my favorite things to do are my little mini books, because those are all just like solid ideas that come up. I have a really good photo printer, and those are easy to hammer out, and it's crazy when people buy. So I did set out a few of my most popular books, and I'm going to show them to you right now. Let me know how we're doing. So a lot of it comes from like, so this one, my 12-year-old is addicted to Hamilton, like absolutely addicted to Hamilton. So I did a little support group for that. Who doesn't love Stabler, you know? This is like one of my most popular books. And then anything with cats is really popular. I have 3 cats. I'm not going to say what these things say. So here's you know.
I love them.
More.
I love them. They all have a slight bend, a slight slant. You know, they push the envelopes, and so you have found your audience. You have found people who are looking for out of the ordinary miniatures.
I definitely have. I have, but like, so the joy in what I do too is I'm like a jack of all trades. I have a lot of, I like to call them as human-sized items. So I can make this dollhouse Medusa mirror, which is Glowforge. It is 3D printed on mirrored acrylic. I also sell this in human size, which is one of my most popular items. And so, like, going back to Glowforge, they give you, it's like I don't know, a premier member or whatever, premium member, you get certain files so that you can make your own stuff, which is all well and good. They give you the files to make these little chairs, dollhouse miniature chairs, but I like to add my own little twist on them. Yeah. So I have this one that is covered in fabric butts.
I love the cannabis bricks. Where are those?
A little stool. Mm-hmm. Okay, you want to see the drugs? I had this whole drug section right here. So
a whole drug section, no less.
I did. So I have my little.
I like.
Let me try to move this mirror.
Are they bricks? What do you call that?
So there's my little cocaine.
The
Okay, so I have to be really careful with Etsy. Okay, so Etsy likes to take all my things down, and so doesn't Instagram, etc. So my little cocaine things.
Oh, is that what they are? Okay.
I think I call them. Well, these ones are my little cocaine bricks, and then these ones are my little marijuana ones.
I love it.
And then so I like going back to like incorporating different mediums. these lighters are 3D printed that my husband designed. And then I have to like paint each one of these individually.
Bet.
It stinks, but it's very
love the-
popular. Here's the little baggies of bleed.
I love the little joints too. The little rolled joints are awesome.
Let me get those. Here's my little Breaking Bad mess.
Oh my God, you have
It's
crystal
got a little
meth.
picture of Heisenberg on it.
I love it. I hope we
I
don't get
know, and like that's the thing. It's like I'm such a boring person. Here's a little joints that I roll, which I've never rolled a real joint in my life, which is crazy because I'm doing all this stuff and I'm so boring.
Wow.
Here's a little bed that I made.
Mm.
I don't know if you can see that. It's mirrored acrylic, 3 out of 5 stars. So not a
Oh.
very good rating in the bed.
We did get one comment. They love
And
your
then a little boring, you know.
yeah. Oh,
Oh.
that's great. So we can find you. We can find.
And
We
then I
did
make,
post your website.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love them. I just
can
love
I
them.
can
I
I
love
show
them.
one more thing? I don't know
Yes.
what the time is like. These are little mini cutting boards that I make that are also available in human size. And every
Uh-huh.
time you buy a human size one, you get a mini for free. So whichever
perfect.
cutting board you get.
My favorite.
little,
Where's the vodka? Where's my vodka? That's perfect.
yeah, that's a popular
love-
one in this house. I do little sex toys. I don't know if I can post those or people are going to get mad.
Let's see them. This
Okay.
is your. I love those. And what?
So I make a lot of
ahead.
molds,
Uh-huh.
and then I hand paint. So
Oh, okay.
these are
Those
all
aren't 3D
customizable if you
Those are
want it
mold.
in. These are molds. These are resin. Yeah.
They're resin.
Somebody's out.
Beautiful.
Somebody's mad. There we go.
I know.
People are getting mad.
I saw that.
Hi, thanks for joining in. Sorry. And then I hand paint these guys.
They're great. They're really great. Fantastic.
And then a little for your favorite aunt.
Aw. Yeah.
I'm just so
Look,
mad.
I think
People are gonna go away.
continue-
I'm so sorry.
Continue to push the envelope because this is what makes people think. It makes people realize that this is art and we love it. So can we see you again before we sign off?
Thank you. Oh yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me look pretty.
Let's flip back. There you
There we go.
are. Mary, thank you so much for sharing your work with us and your studio space.
Thank
I
you
love your work.
so
I
much.
think you're doing
Thank
great
you
things.
so much
We'll
for
continue to look for you.
having me.
Folks, follow Mary's Instagram account. It's just filled with so much yummy, fun things. Thank
And
you.
please don't be mad. It's all in good fun.
It is all in good fun. Have a great
Thank
rest
you
of your day.
so
I
much.
see Amanda standing by. Amanda, how are you?
Good. I
to
love Mary
see you.
so much.
I am gonna frame that comment. I'm out. I'm framing that. I'm putting it.
Honestly, I've always had the same reaction to a lot of my work, so I totally understand.
Look, we're doing the right thing if we can get more people to leave now. So let's see your work. Amanda, thank you for joining today. You are one of my all-time favorites. So I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're sharing your space with us.
Thank you.
You really, and I'm glad you're sort of closing us out because you're really, I mean, we've heard a lot of innovation happening in miniatures, but I think you're on the forefront of really creating innovation in miniatures with your work, with the type of work, with your themes, with the materials, with the technology. So before I even start, thank you for what you're doing because you're really doing some great stuff. And if you guys don't know Amanda does beautiful work. So take us through a little bit about your work, where you started, how you got into miniatures for those who don't know. And then maybe we could just dive into that hoarder's porch behind you because it's really so great. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me participate in this. I love this kind of thing. I love listening to other miniaturists talk about their work. I have always been into miniatures since I was a kid. I started with my grandma had a dollhouse and which I inherited when she passed away, and I've been renovating for like 7 years. And then it sort of kind of went on the back burner when I was a kid. I didn't really make like, I made miniatures for like my stuffed animals, but it wasn't until college where I really started to take it seriously. And I bought my first dollhouse kit ever. And this was like 2015-ish. And it kind of snowballed from there. I created an Instagram account. And back then, there were no scandalous miniatures. So, you know, miniaturists like Mary didn't exist. You know, there were no sex toys, there weren't any drug paraphernalia. So that's kind of where I got started, is just making those kind of miniatures. And that's my Instagram just started, it just blew up. And then this past year, I got on.
We did hear from Mary that, you know, her buttons that she was pushing was more about comedy and making people sort of laugh.
Yeah.
What was sort of your inspiration with what you were doing? What buttons were you trying to push as an artist?
I don't think I was trying to push buttons per se. I was just like trying to make things that I didn't see commercially available. Like I would go to miniature shows and I just wouldn't see, it was all Victorian stuff, which is, you know, fine, but it wasn't the type of modern look that I was going for. So I made a lot of stuff, just, you know, things that I think would go in a dollhouse. I made myself. So that was kind of like, I wasn't actively trying to make people mad. I wasn't
in a real house. And that's why I don't understand why people get offended. I mean, you're gonna find these things in your own house, guys.
It's very true. Yeah, like pads and stuff.
Hello. Exactly. Awesome. All right. So take us through some of your work. Can you share some of your work?
Yeah, I have. So a lot of my stuff that I make are commissions for other people. So a lot of my personal stuff are either like tied up in gallery shows or something. So I do have the Hoarder's Porch here, but it is going to a gallery show next week, which is why it's out.
That's awesome. Please tell us more about that before I forget to ask you. Where is it going?
So I am, sorry, I look like a boomer right now. I am a graduate art student at Radford University. So I'm going to be participating in their student art show. And it's called Super Duper. It's in Radford. So if anyone in Virginia wants to go check it out. And the Hoarder's Porch will be in that show. So I will turn this around. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoop.
And also talk about the personal connection to a lot of your miniatures. I'm sure you'll do that.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't doing this correctly. So the Hoarder's Porch definitely was personal for me. I grew up in a hoarding situation. So, you know, I was very inspired by that, by childhood. And, you know, I started the Hoarder's Porch like 3 years ago. It was a kit for a dollhouse club I was in. And I don't know, it was like shabby chic or something. I was like, I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to do a Hoarder's Porch, and it took me 3 years to finish. And it wasn't really until I started on TikTok that it really actually I was able to finish it, because of all the motivation from my fans.
We have to mention that you have a humongous TikTok account.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm almost at 500,000, which is insane to me. Like I never thought I would get to that. I don't even have that much on Instagram. I was like, it's crazy how viral you can get on TikTok.
Yeah.
But it really connected with a lot of people, and people would leave their comments and things about their own situations. And I just thought it was really important to show that kind of work that has like meaning to it. So I'll flip it this way. Sorry.
The expectation is different from TikTok audience than Instagram in terms of how you communicate your work, right? You have to do it differently.
Yeah, people really appreciate meaning to work. It's not just like, here's an abandoned house. It's like people want to know why you made it, like, which is really cool. And I love explaining that and sort of like my process behind what I do.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're bringing folks over to realize that there's a whole world of miniatures that maybe they'll be inspired by.
Yeah, and when I was at Philadelphia Miniatura, there were so many people who came from TikTok to the actual show, and they were like, I've been following you on TikTok for months, you know, like so it was really cool to meet those people in person who had never gone to a miniature show before, and now that they know this whole world, which I love and hold dear to my heart.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that the Philadelphia show for me just really, there was a whole different vibe there. And it's people like you who've created that sort of, it's influencer. I hate to say it. It's not the right word, but you are
like content creator.
content creator. This is a whole new thing for me. And you're bringing that to this world. And that for me just raises the awareness around miniatures. So it's all good. It's really all good. Fantastic.
Sorry, my headphone popped out. And
you're also educating the world, which is good. I know you do, you explain your processes a lot and you talk about your techniques. You did a great Meet the Miniaturist and you show people how to work the 3D printer. So, I love what you're doing. I just love what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm glad more people are getting into 3D printing. It really wasn't like a thing in the miniature world until a couple years ago. So I'm glad that more people are doing it. It really brings like the level of realism and detail to your work, like to the next level, like having a laser cutter is awesome. But I think 3D printing is really like the next step for miniatures, and it still requires a lot of skill and artistry to do.
For
like
sure.
all these water bottles and things, these are all 3D printed on the side here. I don't know if you can see them, but
can you show the cat? The cat, what do you call it? It's the cat. Come on, the cat.
The litter
thing.
box?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
that is
I don't know if I can get in there, but I have my iPad, so
the litter box is amazing. I think you did a little tutorial on that on your Instagram.
On TikTok, like over a year ago, I think, during quarantine. And some of the work that I'm doing now is for my MFA thesis. So I'm doing a lot more like work that's related to my life now more than ever. This is one of the work in progresses I've been posting about on TikTok and Instagram. I'm doing a miniature bodega scene. I'm not living in New York currently, but I miss it so much. And this was based on one that was near my old apartment in Brooklyn. So I'm
talk about that. What is your thesis going to be on?
So I'm going for my MFA for sculpture, which is basically miniatures. So I'm doing a lot of work just like that relates to my life. In addition to the bodega, I'm also working on a COVID related piece, which is really funny because well, maybe not funny, but I have COVID right now. I'm recovering. Yeah. So I'm doing a piece related to that. So I like doing work that like relates to my experiences. I don't want to make work that, I have no place in making, So that's really important to me. So that's kind of like my work in progress right now.
Love it. I love it. And that's what I love about your work too. It always comes back to you and your personal observations and things relating to your life. So that's really, really great. Amanda, thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing some of your work. Good luck on everything. When are we going to see the unveiling of the bodega? How long do you have on that?
That's probably going to be like a long time. I have all the structures inside made, but every little tiny product I'm going to be either 3D printing, scratch building, making printables for that. So it's going to take me a while, and it's for my sculpture class. So I have a couple months to do it. So
okay. You will be following, and if you're not following her right now, folks, follow her Instagram. Definitely get onto TikTok. If you're not on TikTok, this is a great reason to go on, because there is this whole miniature TikTok happening right now. So I would totally encourage folks to join just for that. But thanks, Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us for this open studio and wrapping up this open studio event for us. It's been awesome. Guys at home, thank you for being here today and watching this open studio event. I had a great time. I hope you did too. I will think we're going to do this again because this has just been so crazy awesome. So thank you for all the artists, all the artists at home for doing this. Thank you guys at home for joining. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all of that on my social media channels. And above all, continue to find the joy in miniatures. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy the rest of your days and weeks ahead, and we'll see you the next time on a new Meet the Miniaturist. Goodbye. Have a great day.